Any spiritual practice that one really does, it starts in a singular place. It starts with oneself, what one's need is, how deeply one is willing to go in themselves. Will one be able to turn around the tension, the anxiety, all the stuff inside, because their need goes so deep. They need so deeply to have a spiritual life that they have to turn all the other stuff around. It starts with each and every one of us. And there aren't two people that are the same. Everybody is unique and everybody has unique problems. Mostly problems we can all identify with, but they're still unique to that individual. And a spiritual practice, has to take all that into account. We can't imitate anyone else. It's like Rudy once told me, you can be a third-rate Rudy or a first-rate Stuart. He told me this, I don't know how many times, until it finally sunk in what he was talking about. I have to go to the deepest part of myself and open to whatever it is, that God wants me to do in this life, uniquely, not cloning somebody else or trying to imitate another person. So I think everybody has to finally come to terms with themselves. That's where it all begins. And once we can finally like and love ourselves and find self-worth and understand, it opens up a passageway to God, to spiritual enlightenment. We're no longer interfering with the journey. So I think it's something that every person that does, whether it's this practice or any practice, they have to come to terms with it. And they also have to understand that there are many practices in the world. And whatever works for a person is just fine. No practice is better than another practice. No teacher is better than another teacher. It's just what works. And if somebody, goes to a practice and it works for them, then, it's a blessing. It's really wonderful. If this works for you all, then it's wonderful. Does anyone have a question they would like to? I don't have a lot of rules in what I do. Yeah, there's one strict rule: no drugs. If you want to do ayahuasca, marijuana, this, that, I can't work with you if you're doing drugs because they work absolutely against, spiritual practice. So that's the only rule. Other than that, I don't care if people are Democrats, Republicans, they eat meat, they eat vegetables. All of that is unique to themselves, and I have to respect whatever their choices are. I do ask people to try to attend at least 2 classes a week. And there's a reason for that. What I'm here to do is give away everything I've learned. I can't give it away to somebody who shows up every, 3 weeks for a meditation class. Basically they're coming to just relax and quiet their mind a little bit. But it's very difficult. Real spiritual practice requires training. It requires mastery of oneself. It requires learning how to do it. And honestly, it's not that I want to have students and I need to have disciples and all this stuff. I'm not interested. To me, quality is much more important than quantity. And I only say this about the attendance to class because it works. It really works. I mean, it doesn't work if people procrastinate, they put it off, they don't come, it works if somebody makes a commitment. When I studied with Rudy, I made a commitment to be there. When I was running, I mean, even these classes, I always kid around, say I'm the only person who attends all the classes. Nobody else. I mean, I think it's rather funny, And so what I'm saying is I'm here to give away everything that I've learned. And it will go to people that make that kind of commitment. They come, they work on themselves. It's a steady commitment. And once you make that commitment, it's always like Moses with the wand, waving it at the Red Sea. Everything makes room for you to do what you have to do. The universe begins to listen to that, and it suddenly begins to, change things for a human being and make it possible for them. How many people on this silly planet of ours are really doing deep spiritual work to get to God? I mean, God is a big term here, but how many people do really deep spiritual practice? So all of the angels, the gods, if somebody makes that kind of commitment, trumpets start going off in the cosmos. My God, somebody we can really nurture. Does anyone have a question they'd like to? I hope this is clear. I'm not looking for students. I'm looking for great students. That's really fun. People that truly have made a commitment in their lives to have a spiritual life, to be with God, to get free of all of this suffering and insanity that goes on the planet Earth. Does anyone have a question? So it starts with really liking oneself, finding self-worth. I am worthy of being a child of God. I am worthy of allowing higher energy to move through my system and nurture my life and guide my life. I'm worthy of being a happy person. Big question, You have to be worthy of that in order to be happy. Happy people are enlightened people. Really, find a happy person 24 hours a day, It's almost not possible. But happy people are truly enlightened people. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask? Okay, there'll be a meditation on Sunday. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. And as I say over and over again, thank you all for being my teacher. Your presence really demands that I have to work on myself and work very deeply on myself. So I'm very grateful for each and every one of you, and God bless you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Have a wonderful weekend.